The Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question's to the Prime Minister. This morning, in an extraordinary interview with David Spears on Sky News, the Prime Minister said of his 10-year tax cut for big business, and I quote, "The Treasury has not identified the dollar cost of that particular item." Why did the Prime Minister make his 10-year plan the centrepiece of his budget when, by his own admission, he hasn't even asked Treasury to identify the 10-year cost?
The Leader of the House. The Leader of the House will cease interjecting. The Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. The Leader of the Opposition's childish efforts this morning, rehearsed now today, overlooked the fact that, as he well knows, the Charter of Budget Honesty Act stipulates the budget papers must contain details of policy and estimates for the budget year and the following 3 years, forward estimates. And that is precisely what has been followed as every budget, including those brought down by the member for Lilly, since 1998. And the exact forecasts and projections of costs of our enterprise tax plan over the forward estimates are clearly set out in budget paper number 2 on page 41. Now, Labor is on record as acknowledging that a company tax cut is good for jobs and good for the economy. Modelling published by the Treasury last year shows that for every dollar of company tax cut, there's a return to the economy of as much as $4. And the Leader of the Opposition and the member for McMahon, the Shadow Treasurer, know this, which is why they have previously strongly supported a cut in company tax. Now let's get to what is really motivating Labor's interest in this issue. They're desperately scurrying around trying to find money in the budget to fill up their massive black hole. In stark contrast, our National Economic Plan for Jobs and Growth encourages the very enterprise and investment we need to create the jobs of the future. And Mr Speaker, in terms of the medium-term forecast or medium-term projections in the budget papers, as the honourable members opposite know full well, they do not set out in the budget papers all of the line items that underpin those projections. They know that it has been ever thus. And indeed, they understand that the medium-term projections make assumptions about the continuation of government policy, and as I said to Mr Spears, they take into account, as the Treasury has done, the government's 10-year enterprise tax plan. They are taken into account, and they show, as the honourable members know, as it's set out in the graph on 311, the budget returning to balance within that medium term.
Just before I call the member for Gilmore and before I call the Leader of the House, the only reason I didn't sit the Prime Minister down through that wall of interjections was because I'm not going to continually interrupt the House. There was a wall of interjections, mostly from members who are warned every day. I'm not going to repeatedly warn through this day. I know passions are running high, but the members for Griffith, Adelaide, Wakefield and Ballarat are warned. If they continue behaving in that fashion, they'll be out of question time straight away. The Leader of the House.
Mr Speaker, during the Prime Minister's answer, the member for Lilly, who should know better, was swearing disgracefully at the Prime Minister. He was swearing disgracefully, shouting profanities at the Prime Minister, and he should be required to withdraw.
Members on my right will cease interjecting. The member for Lilly, did the member for Lilly make an unparliamentary remark? No, well, members on my right will cease interjecting.
I certainly was not swearing, Mr Speaker.
I say to the member for Lilly, he has been asked previously to withdraw unparliamentary remarks. I'm asking him whether he made an unparliamentary remark, and I
did not make an unparliamentary remark.
Well, I say to the Minister for Resources will not interject while I'm addressing the House. I'm going to say to the member for Lilly, I am in a difficult situation when I haven't heard the remark, and I'm not through that wall of interjection. And as a senior member of the House, he has attested to the House that he did not make an unparliamentary remark. And I'm going to call the Leader of the House.
Mr Speaker, I do not want to repeat the word that he was using because it would that's exactly what he wants me to do. But he knows that he has just told a gross untruth to the House. The word that he used could not possibly be parliamentary. I'm happy to write the word down for you and hand it to you, Mr Speaker, but I will not put it on the Hansard and give him the respect that he is looking for to have that remark repeated.
The Manager of Opposition Business. Now, hang on. The Manager of Opposition Business will resume his seat. The Manager of Opposition Business will resume his seat. I'm going to hear. I'm going to hear from the Manager of Opposition Business. I'll ask the Leader of the House to resume his seat. The Manager of Opposition Business.
Mr Speaker, the claim that was just made by the Leader of the House, an allegation against a member deliberately misleading the House, is itself unparliamentary and needs to be withdrawn.
No, the Leader of the House will resume his seat. The Leader of the House can... I'm going to rule on this. The member for Dobell, I will resume her seat. I'm well aware she's wanting to ask a question when we get back to question time. I'm going to say that in the circumstances, I can only accept the word of the member, but I say I will be listening as closely as I can, and if I hear unparliamentary remarks from the member for Lilly, or for that matter any other member, I will take that matter very seriously, and I'm presuming the member for Lilly, I caution him, because he's refused to withdraw unparliamentary remarks before. I'm assuming he wishes to hear the Leader of the Opposition speech tonight. We're now going to move on. The member for Dobell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question